Hi, everyone. Does everybody have a good lunch? Yeah, I certainly did. So it's a great time for some tech talks, right? So my name is Anton Zalaldinov, and today I'm going to take you on a journey on the third-party scripts, surviving in the wild west of the web. We will explore some unique challenges and rewards of building the code on the websites we don't own. So a little bit about me. I work at a firm where I mostly focus on Affirm.js. This is our main third-party script library. So day to day, I write and maintain the script and making sure it runs reliably across thousands of different websites. I'm also co-organizer of the Van.js. So if you want to give a talk in Vancouver, please reach out to me. So when it comes to the reach, Affirm.js operates on a massive scale across many different websites. So this graph over here shows the tracking just from Affirm.js daily, and it's about 93 different million events per day. That volume really highlights why building robust and code and understanding the third-party landscape is so crucial. So here is the life cycle of the third-party script. First, you develop locally, simulating many different environments that your script might encounter. Second, we create the HTML snippet for the site owners. Third, we deploy, minify, CDN, and version our script. Then integrators embedded. And finally, monitoring and maintenance stage. So this is iterative loop of the feedback, performance data, and improvements that keep the script stable over time. Let's dive deep into the first stage, development. Development locally means replicating the cross-domain reality. And the key technique for that I use is Chrome DevTools local overrides. Chrome overrides let me load the real integrator website and replace the deployed version of our script to my local one. So this way I can test the features in the real environment and catch conflicts that no mockup setup can ever show. The snippet is a handshake between us and integrator. So here is ours. It is using Async, and this is intentional. The script is designed to load in parallel and work safely whenever it fires. But it's worth knowing to know the difference between async and defer. So both are downloads without blocking main HTML parsing, but async executes right after the script finishes downloading, which might interrupt parsing, but that's what exactly we need. Defer waits until the DOM will be fully parsed and executes in order it is listed on the page. So knowing which one to use and when makes the huge difference for performance. So the big takeaway is simple. Third-party scripts run in the places we don't control. So they land on the thousands of the websites with their diverse CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. So this uncertainty shapes everything. How we design, how we develop, and how we test. Every integration is a new set of surprises. So that is why robust code isn't just nice to have, it is survival. So let me give you the real world example. Another script on the page completely replaced window.fetch, and our script was expecting the normal user behavior start to throw the errors. So that is why defensive coding in the third-party script development is critical. So you can trust the global environment. There are some techniques which can help you to handle these kind of situations. So use try-catch around risky code. Of course, use stuff like Sentry and Rollbar to log your errors and fall back gracefully when needed. Beyond modified browser APIs, third-party developers navigate through the global namespace. This is tangled web of potential global variable clashes. Styling is another challenge. UI element from a script should look nice and function properly. despite the diverse CSS on the host page. Performance is critical. Third-party scripts need to be highly efficient to avoid slowing down the website owner page. So for context, the median JavaScript load from the phone in 2024 was around 550 kilobytes. And significant portion of it comes from the third-party scripts. So every byte counts. Finally, debugging can be a real detective story. When the issue is appearing only on one website out of the thousands, so replicating this might be super tricky for the third-party script developer. Security is a top priority for us as well. Maintaining the script integrity to prevent vulnerabilities is crucial. Developers also need to consider the risk posed by fourth-party scripts. This is dependencies of our dependencies. So, interesting world. Privacy is another major concern, and the landscape of the privacy is constantly evolving. As you know, the third-party cookies are deprecating both by raising user privacy concerns and increasing regulatory pressures. So anyone who is developing third-party scripts have to learn new APIs like chips or storage access API to create solutions that actually respect the user privacy. Finally, the script must comply with the website regulations as well. So best practice for that is only use the cookie which is strictly necessary for your third-party script to operate. So how do we survive and thrive? First, the script have to be loaded efficiently. We should use async and defer properly to minimize the load time and don't overwhelm the host page. Techniques like tree shaking and code splitting are essential, so that allow us to make sure that JavaScript that actually needed by client is being sent to the client. So it's gonna reduce the load times and improve overall performance. Second is strong walls through encapsulation. Using the shadow DOM, for example, lets developers create isolated DOM tree for our UI components. Styles inside the shadow DOM don't leak out usually, and the global styles doesn't break the component appearance. This approach drastically reduces the CSS conflicts that might appear within your component and the host page component. So, shadow DOM and web components. Defensive coding is non-negotiable for the third-party scripts. So when you develop the third-party script, you should assume nothing about the environment which is actually hosting you. So use the global object detection, use feature detection. Bundle all dependencies to isolate your script using the Webpack or Browserify. Now let's talk a little bit about security. The integrator must update their CSP to include your script, otherwise the browser will block it. Our script should also avoid calling any external servers rather than their own. So this would allow us to not being blocked by the course issues. Finally, when our script is fetching the data from the server must include access control allow origin header. This tells the browsers that it's safe to get the requests from any integrator website. So your request will be blocked as well. Finally, the last piece of the survival kit for third-party scripts is testing. Testing. Standard unit testing is just the baseline for a test. Third-party scripts must be battle tested against diverse conditions that they will face in the wild. This includes unexpected HTML structures, for example. IDs on the host page might conflict with yours, so you should never rely on the unique ID or modify the elements on the page directly. We also should test against conflict in CSS, the presence of other scripts which might be available on the page, unusual content security policies, and variety of different network conditions and browser version. So let's wrap up. Developing third-party script is definitely a unique adventure filled with challenges which is typically not encountered in the first-party development, but it's also incredibly rewarding, as these scripts are unseen engines of the web, and it's very crucial for it. The job of the third-party script developer is always to be a good guest on every website. So whether you're building or integrating, remember these complexities and strive to build responsibly for a diverse web. Thank you.